Would this kind of stuff increase your punching power? Watch out, boys. Bradley's boyfriend will just let me have the 200s by the time he's
Wear boxing gloves
while you do it.
Ooh, you know what you need? You need like custom handles that have the brass knuckles that you like put your fingers into.
That'd be sick.
And then I'll get a pair of like 20-pound brass knuckles. Am I too far away?
What an opener.
You good. We're rolling.
All right, what is up, YouTube? Justin has been in town now for 3 weeks.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 weeks, and this is the longest stretch of time that we've had training together. And we were filming a bunch of the stuff, but a lot of it probably doesn't really make much sense as there wasn't much context. So I wanted to like give you guys an update on like where my training journey is at and where it's been going. Obviously, last year was kind of chaos. I had the really bad shoulder injury, had to rehab that. All the little nooks and crannies of brokenness from bodybuilding, not even broken, it's just weak points because it wasn't what I needed in that career, are just stuff we're slowly trying to rebuild. So it's kind of phase by phase by phase, focusing on like one little thing at a time so there's actually seeing progress and it's sticking. So in the last 3 weeks or so, it's been one specific phase. I've been able to train with Justin every day and having that difference of like in person and like helping like little cues and setup and like even his ability to not give me cues, because if I'm overthinking it of every little thing I'm not going to be doing, I'm just going to be thinking about doing the thing rather than doing the thing, has been great to have it in person. So wanted to give you guys an update on like what this current phase was. I guess if they've seen some of those videos, what was the focus of the 3.5 weeks where you were out here of like these workouts, and how were they like structured throughout the week towards what goal?
Well, shoot, even to look back, this was the first like more than 3 week phase where we could fully focus on athletics. The last 9 weeks was athletics. Prior to that, like you said, it was structural work, it was hypertrophy, it was a mix. So this final 3 weeks of the 9 week phase was like the peaking. So looking at the different strength qualities that you'd experience in basketball or in whatever sport you want to go do, there's eccentric, isometric, plyometric, and concentric. So you had a day, a full body day, dedicated to each of those, where you hit everything in that strength expression, just to closely correlate training in the gym to actually doing the sport. Chris reached a point to where like the body didn't exactly feel incredible by the end of this phase.
I'm like, my knees are broken. And they feel better now, honestly.
Yeah, that's perfect. Make sure you're wrapping the lats, tucking the elbows. 3 seconds, and let's go. 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. Back in, and let's go. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Last one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. That's good. Pop out. Yeah, the upper body iso stuff's the most boring thing in the world. But what's happening is you end up producing more force, thus more tension on the muscle than you would on something that's moving. Like imagine having to recreate that on like a dumbbell press. You're pushing, and it's not moving, and you just did that for a total of 9 seconds. You'd have to hit failure, somehow get to this point, and then maintain that tension of like maximal effort throughout.
9 seconds, yeah.
And then there's the tendon benefit, the neurological benefit, but then there's also the hypertrophy, like actual muscle tension benefit. Really drive the elbows back and go. 3, 2, 1. And go. 3, 2, 1. And go. 3, 2, 1. That's good. And go. 3, 2, 2. One more. And go. 3, 2, 3. Good. Pop that off. 3, 2, 1. And go. 3, 2, 1. Last one. And go. 3, 2, 1. Good. Good. One more. Very good. Good. 2 more. Yeah, there you go. One more. If the knee was not as much of a weakness, that would be like the other direction that we would go, is we'd go more of like a hip hinge posterior iso. It wouldn't be like the change of direction or like as much knee focus. And then you're doing like a rack pull iso.
So all this stuff will also benefit my knees a lot.
100%.
Will it also my ankles?
Yes. Because they're part of the chain. Like if you turned your ankles off, you wouldn't produce force around the knee or the hip. So like they are also isometrically training. If anything, like when you're doing that push off and the heel is floating, your limiting factor is probably that holding steady. Like if you're heel flat and then went, you'd probably unlock more force. Yeah. But it's floating for a reason. 3, 2, 1. Other leg. 3, 2, 1. Other leg. There we go. 2, 1, go. Good. 2, 1. Bingo. So you reach this point of like just pushing like all the way like to the red to get as much out of this phase as you can, and then you recover. Now you take 5 days off. You allow everything to set in from the last 9-week phases, and then you go in and you have more athletic ability based on the weaknesses that we worked on and the big compound movements and all the little things that we did. And then we go back to the drawing board and it's like, well, what do you want to do now? More athleticism, more strength, more hypertrophy? Like, is there something super specific like a jump or a run or a bound or a sport that you want to improve? But yeah, this was like the culmination of 9 weeks of work just to improve the athleticism and introducing a lot of like change of direction and repeated plyometrics is what we're really looking at. That's where my head knew. Good. Higher on the first jump though. Higher on the first jump. Don't rush it. Get hang time and then punch. Yep. I thought about it a little too long.
But like, I don't know how to run either, you know?
Yeah.
Like I do in my mind think, okay, just like only land on your toes, not the balls of your feet, just reach with your toes. And like, because it feels like sprinting, you know?
Although you are kind of striking a little bit with your toe, you're striking with your toe when your center of gravity is already above it. And in order for that to happen, you actually have to dorsiflex. So you're dorsiflexed, but striking like midfoot toe. Really? It's not like reaching and your toe touches and then you put force on, because then you're out like this. That's how like a hamstring injury happens, is you're reaching, all that force happens, you have to decelerate, so it slows you down and you get a hamstring injury. Sick. All right, here we go. Yep. So think pause, so your pause, strike, pause, strike, pause, strike. So the strike gets you through to the next position.
See, that's that horse just wanting to be let out.
Let him go, nerd! All right, here we go. See, by the end you started to get it. By the end you started to get it. So increase speed each rep. We'll get 6. That's good, you can jump. Here we go.
Oh yeah, that was much heavier.
2, 3, 4. Get out there. 2 more. 1 more. 1 more. Boom, boom. That's good.
I continuously find it so interesting how like bodybuilding should have phases, but you can get away with just like increasing load, changing an exercise here or there, and just like pushing harder and harder. But when your goal is to be able to like be faster, be more mobile, be stronger, jump higher, move one way, have stronger hips and ankles, and be bigger, and like if there's so many goals and you're trying to hit them all at once and you're going nowhere. But like having this phase where, like you said, where like by the end of it, like specific aspects of my body that would allow me to jump per se, it just hurt. Like my knees and my ankles were like, oh, we're dead. Yeah. But it was like, if you asked me to jump at the end of the phase, it would be a horrible jump. 5 weeks later when I'm recovered and know that stuff can be expressed, I feel great. And then it's focusing on something else while maintaining that stuff. Whereas if you're trying to do if I was trying to also increase my back squat at that time, I
Yeah.
would make no progress.
Oh,
and
yeah,
my
no, not
whole
at all.
nervous system and knees would literally be fucked.
Yeah.
Nothing would be moving. So I find that so interesting how much more important and difficult it is when you're trying to do like an athletic feat or increase to program your training rather than just being like, hey, I'm gonna go lift hard.
Yeah. Well, and that is one beautiful thing though about bodybuilding. It's so simple.
So simple.
Like you really can get away with just going in and just crushing yourself. And the only thing that's going to keep you from going further is like an injury or like doing too much.
Yeah.
But athletics are very different. What's even more difficult than that though is maintaining / building hypertrophy, like depending on who you are, and becoming more athletic. But I mean, why not go for the most ambitious goal and try to have a little bit of everything.
What's this for?
It's like a very one size fits all way to force tissue through compression, and then he's gonna get a ton of blood into the tissues. So it's like a pretty low pain, low lift warm up for me.
I wouldn't call this low pain.
And then pop. Try to get faster up. Drop and right back up. Boom, boom. Ah, that's better. One more. Boom, boom. Yeah, that's it. Okay, calm down. The second part, you're dropping quickly, which is good, but I'm trying to get, this is teaching like relaxation and then 100% as fast as possible. So your like initial turning on, let's say it was like 60%. You'd drop really good and then you'd punch, but it wasn't aggressive enough. Yeah. So if we just focus on that for today for one more set, that's really good. But we'll get to the point to where it's like you're dropping fast, you're exploding, and then it's reps. So it's boom, 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 and it's just pulling you down, pulling you down, pulling you down. But that'll probably be like week 3 that we'll do that. Good. That was really good. One more. Yep. Warming. And let's go. Yep. Good. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. We're flying.
You have to retest that dunk in 3 weeks.
So this is actually something that, like, let's say you tried to dunk and you got like what you did last time, where like you barely get over, and then you did this, rested, went again. Like every set that you do it, you jump a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Just like, think about it. This is that full like power position for the jump, and you're loading the shit out of it. So then relatively your body's lighter. It's weird enough in hockey. Hockey is kind of leading the space with using that stuff. They'll like do a shift, come over, stand on it, boom, 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 in their skates, go back out, and then they're flying.
Like well, in a game.
Yeah. Or like a practice or whatever.
That's sick.
2, 3, 4. Okay, that's good, that's good. 8, 7, 6, fast turn. 3, 2, good. One more, in 10, last one.
If my goal is still to be more athletic, my goal is just to like feel better. Like I still have some knee pain and weak ankles and tight hips, and I want to be able to like express athleticism and be like, oh, if I'm going to go pick a basketball and sprint and jump, I don't want to like tear something in the first 5 minutes. That's still my end goal. What is the most optimal like phase to get into next after doing something like this? That was so specific.
Number one is familiarity, which we've talked about. Like, if you go start playing pickup basketball 2 times a week and you're smart about not going 100% off the jump, like you still have to do the sport to get good at it.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of it. And then from there, you still have some glaring weaknesses. So like we were talking about those cups again, like your hip flexors, your ankles, rotational ability, like those glasses still have a lot of potential. So it's like We could probably go into a strength phase where we worry about fixing those, and then we contrast the athleticism of this. So maybe it's a little bit less plyo, it's a little bit less on that end, and we go into like eccentric and general load-based methods that really, really push hip flexors, ankles, everything that's weak. And then we can come back to the athleticism. But because we worked on the weakest link and exactly what is needed, you got more familiar with whatever it is you're wanting to do. When we come back to the thing that on paper will make you more athletic, which would be like the style of training that we just did, you're not going to be limited by those weak links anymore. It's almost always weak link focused. You're just upgrading. Instead of it being, well, I blew my shoulder out and I can't even do this. Obviously, you have to fix that if you want to bench. Well, now it's like, okay, let's make your hip flexors a little stronger so that when you run, that's not a limiting factor.
So many people keep asking me if I miss like just training like a bodybuilder, and I'm like, in part, no, and yes, because like it was great, but I did it for so long. But I also feel like I believe in this style of training so much more because like you just feel so shitty, you know? Like even what you just said, like, yeah, you could have jumped into it then, but like every time I did it, I hurt myself. Every time I did something or I like blocked a little bit of sleep and then tried to move too fast, like you're so susceptible to being injured. And like I'm a little bit more prone than most people to injury, but still I feel like it's just not a conducive way to like live when you're young. Sure, like when I used to just still jack bodybuilding and go play basketball when I was 21, I was completely fine. But over time, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so, like this style of training and thinking differently of not just how I look, but how I feel is so like important. Such a missed thing in the past of like the culture of fitness. Like, everything was just like, let me get huge fucking pecs. And then my shoulders are broken. I can't lift my arms over my head. I can't like stand up for 20 minutes, you know? It's brutal.
And the experience is unique to each person, but I think it kind of lines up with the philosophy that like too much of anything can be a bad thing. So like if you put all of your eggs in one basket to just be like as jacked as humanly possible, like thinking of like an open bodybuilder, just huge, like there are things that you're deciding to sacrifice. And like if we're talking about, God willing, like a 95-year-old life that you get to experience, most likely when you're 90, you're not going to be worried about being a 300-pound open bodybuilder. Like you're going to be worried about just being healthy and cognizant and feeling good that you can move around. Like there's a lot more seasons in life that training like this will carry over into for quality of life and just for ability. Like I honestly feel like that's one of the toughest things that like neither of us have gotten to the point to where our body severely limits us. And I really do believe that's got to be one of the worst existences to where like you want to do something but you can't,
and you will never be able to again.
And there's a window, like there's a window of time that you can achieve things, and then it's exponentially harder to regain it. So I think the old 50-year-old dude who's like can't move and his back screwed up or whatever, like would definitely be like, please if you can, like find a way to like still be jacked. Like that's awesome, muscles longevity, it's a whole thing, but like make sure that you are able-bodied while you can.
I feel like it's like you hear of like the beauty and the arts of bodybuilding and all this stuff, but like, and I feel like that's exactly where my brain used to be, but now I'm so differently of like the beauty of what the body's capable of. You know, like when I see people and they're like, not even bodybuilders, but they're like toes are pointed out, they're like walking, they're with their kids and like bending over, and it's just like this. And then I saw one other dad at the park the other day, and he was wearing like a pair of sandals, and his kids were like running away from him. And there was like this tall slide, he sprints, he runs up the slide, ducks under it, goes to go down the thing, and I was like, holy shit, like that's it. Like that's amazing what the human body can do, you know? Even just seeing that, like being able to do those things, like even myself now at the park, like I'll like, Bradley will go down the slide and she'll start running, and I'll quickly like go down the side of the slide, jump over and like run, and I was like, oh, like that was kind of athletic. Like, I couldn't have done that a year ago, you know? Like being able to move quicker through things and just feel like your body can do what your mind wants it to do. Is feel like it's such a empowering thing that like used to be like confidence is looking good, but now it's like, oh, hey, if I just feel good in how I move, like it's also like an internal confidence.
One, there's seasons for everything. Like if you can get as jacked as humanly possible and your body does okay, and you can still navigate into a season of being athletic and not like bodybuilder size, heck yeah, like you got the best of both worlds. Like maybe you didn't need to always worry about that. Like there's probably, again, there's seasons for everything.
Look at Ian. He was still what, like 250, and he got back to sprinting in like 3 months. I was like, good news for a year and a half, and I still can't. I'm still not there. The people are just freaks.
Well, I think that's the biggest takeaway is like it's an individual journey for each person, and some people like
I don't know, 22-year-old is just focused on getting jacked and they blow their shoulder out, and by the time they're 45 they're still talking about how they can't do anything because they blew their shoulder out when they're 22. That person, maybe it's smart to always keep the athletic stuff in your mind, but then there's other people that, like, you look at Jay Cutler, like, he's getting up in age and like he seems to be doing pretty darn good, and he was a Mr. Olympia, like, open bodybuilder. Like, you don't know though, so you kind of got to play your cards right.
So you think the next phase will be strength based, and not just like, oh, I'm doing a huge bench, but like my ankles and hip flexors need to be stronger.
That's where my head goes, and that's partially inspired off of conversations that we've had.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, it can go wherever you want it to be. It's a matter of, like, knowing what your weak links are, always keeping them in mind, and then you just make the best of whatever direction you want to go.
Yeah.
Maybe you decide you want to be a rock climber in the next 2 years, and then it's like, well, you got to drop like 60 pounds, probably more like 70.
Case in point, I went rock climbing 4 or 5 years ago, and I probably grade 1 tore my hamstring. Because I was doing great. I was supposed to be a good rock climber, and I went like this to reach, and I was like, oh, and I just like ripped, and I was like, fuck, and I just like limped out of there, and I was pissed, and I was like, every time I try to do something, you know?
Yeah.
So no more.
The only mistake I feel like people could make when they're trying to decide what they want to do, like we're kind of like loosely deciding strength phase, doing all that. The only mistake that we would make, like you hinted at, would be saying, well, I'm going to do a strength phase, but I'm also going to work on my plyometrics. Oh, and also I'm going to try to get really big quads. Oh, and also I'm going to go play this pickup rugby league on the weekends. Like, no. Like, what is the priority? Priority means one, and then have everything else be shaped around it, and then trust the fact that it's a season. You'll do it for 9 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, and then if you hate it, shift. But fully commit yourself to it, yield the result, and then move on.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
All right, well, that's pretty much where it was a long-winded into a lot of different directions, but where our training has been in the last 3 weeks while we've been here, and I guess the goal of where we're going to go, which you guys will see, and hopefully some more expressions of it. And we still wanted to, like, organize some like specific gym-based challenges that still aren't really athletic, but are expressions of athleticism that everyone can follow along with. And then also maybe we'll catch me on a men's pickup league court one day, just fucking dunking on people from the free throw line. But yeah, that's the update. Peace out.